All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the June 20th, 2023 Hempstead Town Board meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Clavin.
Here.
Councilman Carini.
Here.
Councilman Dunn.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Here.
Councilman Muscarella.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Here.
Councilwoman Ryder, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the first public hearing.
We have a petition of Commissioner of Buildings to demolish and remove a two-story wood frame, one-family dwelling with detached garage and remove all litter and debris from property in Lawrence.
Okay, any board member want to hear this? If not, Commissioner Leo? Want to identify yourself and just give it a heads up what you're doing? Hold on. You check his mic? There you go.
Good morning, Supervisor, members of the board. Daniel Leo, Deputy Commissioner, Building Department.
You want to just give us a lowdown on what you're doing?
Okay, so this morning we are talking about 37 East Avenue in Lawrence. We had gone for a demolition on this property. The homeowner since has filed an application to remedy the situation. We do have the engineer here this morning who I'd like to have elaborated a little bit further on this. Okay. The plans that were submitted, which I also gave everybody on the board a copy of the photos, the floor plans that were submitted, and the initial survey damage that was on this property. The plans that were submitted do not address the issues that we observed in the field. I'd like to give the applicant a week or two to correct the plans to reflect the true nature of the repair. If not, I recommend we go through with a demolition. Okay.
I have a couple of people asked to speak, and I'll hold off. And we'll, of course, when you speak, you go to the back podium by the, that'd be awesome. We'll start with Mrs. Goggle? Right back there, Chris. Chris Greeny, wave your hands. I know. Good morning. If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Good morning, all. Lorraine Gogol, 7 West Avenue, Lawrence or Meadowmere Park. I am here to say that I believe the house should be demoed. I'm in the community 39 plus years, and I have just watched that house deteriorate literally by the minute. It's an unsafe structure, and to fix it up as the new owner wishes, I can't imagine. I just rebuilt my house after Sandy, and fixing my house prior to it was just not an option. It had to be completely rebuilt. So that is my statement that I believe it should be demoed.
Okay.
I do have a letter that I'd like to submit from the neighbor who lives next door. She had to go to work today, and who would I give that to? You're
going to give that to the town clerk's going to have somebody go back there, and we will make it part of the public record. Could you just identify who the letter is from?
Yes, Mrs. Carolyn Benino. She's at, oh gosh, I don't know what her, she's right next door, the house directly next door. I don't know what her address is.
Oh, okay, we'll make it part of the record, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem, thank you. Next, I have Ruth Samuelson. Thank you. There you go, Ruth, right back there. No. Morning, if you just give your name and address for the record, thanks.
My name is Ruth Samuelson. I live at 37 West Avenue, Lawrence, Meadowmere Park. I have watched this house for over 50 years slowly deteriorate. Nothing is ever done with it. About 40 or 50 years ago, the original owner raised the house and the first floor fell in, and anything that fell out of that first floor remained under the house. The refrigerator, the stove. The foundation is a mess. The entire house is a mess. I worry about children playing. Children they go anywhere. So it would be very dangerous for them to be around that house. That house needs to be pulled down for the benefit of everyone in Meadowmere Park. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Diane Kirchner. You didn't speak? Okay. I got you. Next, I have Lonnie Lacasio. Morning, if you name and address for the record, thank you.
My name's Lonnie Lacasio. I live at 2 West Avenue, Meadowmere Park. I've lived in this neighborhood for 21 years, and the house has been abandoned all those 21 years. You know, there are animals living in the rafters of the house, and being that there's no bulkhead, every time the tide comes up, the foundation is under salt water. I mean, it was hit by Hurricane Sandy, and nothing has been done. The house needs to be demolished. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I don't have any other slips for anybody who did not sign in and wishes to be heard on item number 1. Okay. Deputy, if you just give us the what your thoughts are on the proposal.
My thoughts on this are, if the bulkhead is not addressed, if he doesn't reach out to Conservation and Waterways and stop the erosion on this property,
Right.
along with submitting a set of plans showing true remedies to the problems that were presented, I feel we should move forward with the demolition.
Is my question or point, haven't we made motions to accept it and then given an opportunity for them to rectify while still accepting the demolition? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I think it would be fair enough to be consistent on that. Does anybody else wish to be heard on this? Okay, then can I please have a motion on item number 1?
I move that the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
I second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the residents coming down. It was adopted, and you, of course, I know my group down there knows the commissioner and deputy commissioner very, very well, and don't be shy about calling them, because I know you're not already. All right? Thank you all for coming out. Madam Clerk, please call item number 2.
We have a petition of the Commissioner of Buildings to demolish and remove a 2-story wood frame, 1-family dwelling with detached 2-car garage and remove all litter and debris from a property in Oceanside.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard on this? Okay, I do have a couple of, well, I have one slip here. I have Elizabeth McGlone? If you just come to the back area and give your name and address to the record, thank you very much.
My name is Mary Elizabeth McGloin Hines. I live at 2529 Rockville Center Parkway. The house in question is right next door, 2525 Rockville Center Parkway. I lived in Oceanside for the last 38 years. That house has always been there. I don't know when it was built. Mine was built in 1925. We've watched it go through many owners. When we first moved there, it was a rented home. I never knew who the owner was. And then a family bought it, and it's a product of a tragedy of 9/11. That's all I'll say. Very sad. I did enjoy the people who did live there, but then they left the house, abandoned it. Squatters moved in. Teenagers break into the property all the time. We're right next door. I've called the police. Every time I see anybody on the property, I call the Nassau County Police to try to make a record of it. So the foundation's cracked. There's animals living in it. A great distraction for my 2 dogs. Let me tell you, it's been torture, especially the squatters that were there. I can't even get that part of my life back. It was so stressful. It needs to be torn down. It's a wonderful, wonderful block. If I had a nickel for every time somebody knocked on my door asking to buy that home, I'm telling you. But for some reason, I don't know the mechanics behind the mortgage or the back taxes or anything. It needs to be taken down and a new home put up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't have any other slips on this item. Deputy Commissioner, maybe you enlighten us a little bit on this?
I'd just like to mention that this house has been abandoned since 2018. We have not had any owner's rep, law firms, or bank attorneys step forward to redeem this property. So it's my recommendation to move forward with the demolition, and it has been boarded up several times due to vandalism and as the woman was saying, squatters and people getting in there.
Okay. Councilwoman, anything you want to add?
I have received several complaints from constituents in my district about this house, and I'm going to make a motion to move that the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
I second it.
Supervisor Clavin?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Deputy. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Proposed local law regarding regulations and restrictions to limit parking in Elmont and West Hempstead.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? All right, I don't have any slips. Anybody who did not sign in and wishes to be heard on item number 3? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Got a second, please?
Supervisor Clavin?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby? Councilman Muscarella?
Aye.
And Councilwoman Ryder?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Proposed local law regarding parking or standing prohibitions in Franklin Square, North Belmore, North Merrick, and West Hempstead.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips. Anybody who wishes to be heard on item number 4 that did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Proposed local law regarding angle parking in North Belmore.
Okay. Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips on item number 5. Anybody who wishes to be heard on item number 5 did not sign in? May I please have a motion? Dennis? Is there a motion?
Okay.
Number 5.
I make a motion, we close the hearing and we adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Aye.
All right. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
A proposed local law regarding head-in parking only in North Belmore.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips in item number 6. Does anybody wish to be heard that did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second motion.
Supervisor Clavin?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have adopting the Town of Hempstead public parking field maps showing parking regulations at certain parking fields in Seaford, S2.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips on item number 7. Anybody wish to be heard did not sign in on item number 7? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella? Councilwoman Ryder?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Proposed handicap parking on public streets in Elmont, Inwood, Merrick, Oceanside, Roosevelt, and Uniondale.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips on item number 8. Anybody not signing in wishes to be heard on item number 8? And I may please have a motion.
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second motion.
Supervisor Clavin?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella? Councilwoman Ryder?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Proposed local law regarding registration and permitting of property in relation to accessory structures and penalties.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? Okay, I do not have any slips on item number 9. Anybody not signed in wishes to be heard on item number 9? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin?
Aye.
Councilman Carini? Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have an application of AB Malvern LLC for a variance from the provisions of the GSS ordinance to operate self-service at an existing service station and operate a convenience store, demolish existing gasoline station, to construct a one-story, 26-foot by 46-foot convenience store, install fuel dispensing pumps, construct overhead canopy over 3 pump islands, other associated improvements including grading, landscaping, paving, parking, curbing, and lighting, and to modify and rescind existing restrictive covenants in order to modify a previously approved site plan in Malvern.
Counselor, good morning. If you identify yourself for the record.
Yes, good morning, Supervisor Clavin, Deputy Supervisor Gooseby, honorable members of the board, Kevin O'Brien from O'Brien Law PC, 462 Sagamore Avenue, East Williston, New York, here this morning in connection with this application on behalf of the applicant, and I noticed my architect, Mr. Michael Rubenstein, just arrived, and he's joining me in presentation of this application if there are any questions of a technical nature. This is an application involving the premises at 471 Hempstead Avenue in Malvern. Variances from the provision of the GSS zoning ordinance. The property itself is located at 471 Hempstead Avenue. And it's interesting the way it's situated over there, the way Hempstead Avenue is. It's not exactly on the corner of Atlas, so there's kind of two corners that are kind of close by. One is Morris, one is Atlas, but they're not necessarily really on the corner itself. And the way the property is situated, you got Hempstead Avenue, and it's one roadway that heads south, but then it splits into two roadways that you've got Ocean and you have Hempstead. You know, one we're in close proximity to the village of Malvern, but we're not actually in the village. I don't think, I'm not 100% sure on the overheads, but I was able to grab, if I could just submit at the last minute, one copy of an elevational drawing to see what the building itself is going to look like. So if I could just submit that.
We'll have somebody from grab somebody from the clerk's office so we could submit that.
Okay, thank you. Historically, it was interesting. On the way driving over here this morning, I just thought, I said, wow, I said, this place has been operating as a gasoline service station since 1927. I'm saying, man, what the cars must have been like in 1927, you know, compared to what we have today. So it's been operating almost for 100 years. And what is it that actually, the property is a little over 10,000 square feet. It was built and operated as a two-bay repair-oriented service station with pump islands and underground gasoline storage tanks. And throughout the years, I mean, obviously over 100, or close to 100 years, there have been various applications and the like that have come. Some have come before this board, and other, mostly just replacing the underground gasoline storage tanks. So we did, or the applicant or the property owner had come before the board. The property is actually located in the GSS zoning district, which is the correct zoning district for gasoline service stations within the town of Hempstead. And it did have its underground gasoline storage tanks replaced. There are two double-wall fiberglass underground gasoline storage tanks, all permitted, all meeting or exceeding the county, state, and federal regulations. And as the board is probably aware at this point, that the impetus for that is that there's a requirement by the county that all single wall tanks had to be replaced within a certain period of time, and that was done. So what brings us to the board today is, when that was done, the application, as most applications, if they are approved by the board, are approved subject to a specific site plan and specific improvements on that site plan, and we're seeking to modify them. And why is that? Well, it's sort of twofold. You know, one is the way the cars come in. There are three pump islands, and they're sort of catty-cornered. And the purpose for that is to really kind of get the cars off the roadway and queue on site, as opposed to, you don't want to have cars queuing on the roadway, particularly on that roadway over there. I mean, while the Nassau County Planning Commission recommended local determination, it is the type of roadway that you want to keep the cars off the roadway. You don't want any sort of queuing onto the roadway. So they configured the pump islands in such a manner so as to be able to do that. In so doing, though, the building is really, it makes it very difficult for the cars to egress or to make a fueling vehicle be able to get in and out of there in that way. So the nature of the application today is to modify the previously approved site plan, completely demolish the building that was there using the identical size building, you know, which is basically just shy of 1,200 square feet, push that back about 10, you know, between 10 and 15 feet, same size, but this way it would enable for much better on-site circulation, for both vehicles and for any deliveries that are, proposed for the location. The building that currently exists and construction, quite frankly, has stopped, there was, all the work that was done pursuant to permits, but when they came to this problem, they had to apply for new permits. So all construction is basically stopped at this location, hasn't been operating, but they're looking to push the building back, as noted, operated as a convenience store. We're mindful of the fact that the way the area is, it's principally at least at this section, residentially oriented neighborhood. So the style of the building, we're trying to keep residentially oriented. It would not be a 24-hour operation. I don't think that would work at this particular location. Your commercial area is really a little bit further down towards Malvern. So we're trying to be mindful of that, design it in such a manner. Like I said, I was able to kind of grab at the last minute an elevational drawing which would show that. I'm sorry I don't have a colored copy of that. And then obviously all the other improvements that would go along with the service station. I mean, right now it's unpaved because the tanks were dug up. So of course you'll be paving that. There'd be landscaping throughout the site. There's old fencing at the location. So all the old fencing would be removed and replaced. And that is really the nature of the proposed, and the pump islands they have, there'd be a canopy that would be over those pump islands. The lighting would have to be designed in such a manner that it just stays underneath the canopy. The canopy fascia, other than maybe some signage, would not have any lighting on the canopy fascia itself. So that's the nature of the types of improvements that are being proposed. And like I said, the nature of the relief is because of the fact that a previously approved site plan, I think pursuant to the maybe GSS application, where there were certain covenants and restrictions associated with that application, would have to be modified with, I'm certain, a new set of restrictive covenants applicable to the site plan which is being presented to the board. So if there are any questions, whether it be of an operational nature, I can handle that. Of a technical nature, I do have Michael Rubenstein here with me today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board might have or any interested observers.
Okay, I know we got a couple of questions myself, so I'm just trying to put it all together.
Absolutely.
So this is on Hempstead Avenue. If I'm going south, it's on my right-hand side.
Right-hand side,
And it's
absolutely.
right after the Parkway, right?
Yep, that's
It's
correct.
the one with the tacky-looking bad fence on it, right? No. Right?
Say that again?
It's got a bad-looking fence surrounding the property, right?
Yes.
And somebody was parking equipment on it until recently. Am I right about that?
I was there recently. There was a backhoe on the site. I think.
Okay. Were they allowed to have the backhoe on the site?
Well, while they were doing construction.
Listen, I just asked a question. Were they allowed to have the backhoe on the site, yes or no? Probably not. Okay. Anyway, you also had some other debris on the property. Am I right about that?
That is correct.
Okay, and you abut some residential properties. Am I right about that?
Correct.
Okay, so I see a couple of bad things, because I know this property all too well. I grew up in Valley Stream, so I know this place. I drive by it all the time. I cringe when I drive by it, because they cringing too, because I know the residents are here already. All right, so right off the bat, I say to myself, you haven't maintained it really that well to get people pumped up about it, right?
Correct.
Okay, at least we have the admission. So, now, you want to put a gas station there. Okay, it's not going to be 24-hour. Am I correct about that?
Correct.
I don't have, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I do not have, with the exception of the nice color photos I have that you are not going to like, I don't have any sort of like color visual that's showing me any sort of green, any sort of layout. I got a lot of black and white. Do you have anything that's going to give me a better sense that I could say to people like, this is what it's going to look like?
Mr. Rubenstein, do you have a colored site plan to reflect the landscaping? Apparently, I don't. I certainly can submit.
Okay, so that's not going to help me, because I'm going to tell you right now, I can't go to, all I can do is picture in my mind driving and seeing this bad-looking chain link fence. That's all. I can't get past it in my mind, and I know these residents are thinking the same thing. And like a color kind of something I could show the residents would help in the process of getting people on board. Now, you say you don't want it 24 hours a day, right?
Correct.
Okay. Have you talked to all the neighbors in the area? Because I think that, if I'm correct, again, it abuts like 1 or 2 residential properties. Am I right?
That is correct.
It does. Okay. So have we talked to them? Were they energetic about this? Were they all pumped up about this, or did they have some reservations?
They had some reservations. I was there last week. I did speak to one of the contiguous property owners, and he was concerned about the fencing, the buffer, landscaping that would be included over there. And I indicated that yes, we'd be putting brand new fencing, buffer landscaping, if they'd like to choose some of the fencing or the type of landscaping, because there are a couple of different varieties. Some grow quicker than others. Some like that, some don't like that.
I get it, and like I said, I just know the property pretty well driving by there. It's just tough without a real visual to take a look at this, knowing what's there to make the leap. Like, geez, I mean, how many pumps used to be there before they took them out?
I think,
2?
I think there were 2 large pump islands.
And how many are you going to put there now?
Well, I think there were 2 large. There may have been 2 per island, so it might have been a total of 4. So they're going to be 3.
You're going to put 3, and you want, and it's going to be a convenience store. So you're getting rid of the bays,
That's
doing all the construction, which everyone always is excited about that. But it's not going to be 24 hours a day. How many hours are it going to be?
We'd probably be looking for in the neighborhood of around 5 o'clock in the morning to maybe about 11 o'clock or midnight.
Okay. And then what are we going to sell in our convenience store?
Usual prepackaged goods. It's not. It's comparatively small. It's a 1,200 square foot convenience store. So convenience stores of that size and nature generally sell prepackaged goods as well as coffee and the like.
Okay. All right. I got the elevation with the mini mart, and I appreciate that. Now, Mr. O'Brien, you're no stranger to the town of Hempstead. You've done numerous presentations in front of the town of Hempstead. I can tell you with all certainty, he's going to ask about things like the American flag, all right? And then I can tell you with all certainty, she's going to say, what about shrubs and greenery? It's making it a little difficult without these sort of visual aids to get people in a comfort zone with this. Because like I said, I know what it looks like now. I got a presentation of a black and white, front elevation, which shows me nothing else of how this property is going to look. And like I said, I've listened to residents when I go around, and trust me when I say to you, this one, I know I got the complaints about the machinery being on there. I know it's gone. That's really, really nice. I know I've gotten the complaints about the fact that it hasn't been maintained and it's an eyesore going into and driving through the community. I get that. I'm just saying it's making it a little tough to get a good visual of this, of how it's going to look like with this drawing that you submitted. That one's not going to get me where I need to be.
Supervisor, I perfectly agree, understood. I'm a little surprised myself, I thought, because I've actually got 2 architects on the job. I thought I had colored elevations and the like. I know there is a landscape plan. It's not colored. I know there is a flagpole on the south side of the site. It doesn't really jump out. I'd like at least the opportunity to submit to the board some colored site plans which would more clearly depict where the landscaping is.
And I appreciate that, because like I said, and the residents too, listen,
Understood.
They have to get a visualization of what is really going to be transformed if it's going to be, and they deserve it. Like I said, they've dealt with the property, they've dealt with what the condition it's been in, they've dealt with the fact that unfortunately some stuff was parked there that shouldn't have been parked and it's not there anymore. But I think they deserve a really good analysis of what it could be transformed into to really form an opinion, as do we.
I agree, and I think just with respect to the fence, though, I think because it was a construction site, I think we're required by town law to have a fence,
Yeah.
But I agree with Mr. Supervisor, I agree with everything you said.
Yeah, no, like I said, I get the property. If you want to bring up another expert, and then we'll go through some questions with the residents. Did you want to bring up anybody else?
No, unless there are any particular questions, I think we're fine. To be happy to respond to the residents or anyone else.
All right, I know there might be one. Bless you. Might be 1 or 2 questions we have going on from. I know Councilwoman Ryder's got something.
Sure.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So I
live about a mile from, I live in Limbrook, however, I live on the Malvern border, so I'm very familiar with this proposed site. I also have several family members that live in Malvern who are extremely concerned about the aesthetics of the project. I am fully aware that it abuts several residential properties, and what we don't see, which is very disappointing, is a clear color visual of what the constructed building is going to look like, as well as color renderings of any type of landscaping, screening, and barriers to the residential properties. That's a concern that I have, and it's tough for me to vote on this without seeing that and to adequately represent my constituents in the area right now.
Councilwoman, I don't disagree with you. The plans do reflect some of this, but it doesn't jump out at you. And I would just request the opportunity to be able to provide to the residents and to yourself and the other members of the board. While I believe a lot of the information is on the plans, like I said, it doesn't jump out. When you have the color depiction, you'll be able to see where all the landscaping is, the type, the nature, what the building would look better. So I agree with what you're saying, and I would just request that opportunity to be able to provide.
To the layman's eyes, not to an engineer, it's very difficult.
And you couldn't be more correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, Council Deputy Supervisor, you had something?
You know what I think? I really think that you should take everything back and bring it the way you know it should be given. That we would, we have something to look at, and the residents would have something that they can look at and approve, give some approval, because as it is now, I don't approve any of it. I won't, I vote no.
Understood, Deputy Supervisor.
Mr. Brown, like I said, it's your decision. There are obviously a number of residents that have come down from the surrounding area.
I certainly think they'd want to be the opportunity to be.
Yeah, absolutely. They're here now, so why don't we?
Perhaps if we could come back at another time, that'd be great, or however the board feels comfortable. I'm certainly happy.
Okay, so I'm going to go through. I got a number here that when residents come in, just go to the back podium and speak in. I apologize if I mull your name. Christopher Karami? Okay. It wasn't Carini, so we were happy enough that, that we get enough Carini up here, so this works out well.
Good morning. My name is Chris Cerami. I'm at 10 Atlas Avenue. My property abuts directly to the gas station. I'm section 201, I think, on the map.
Gotcha.
I think like 70% of my backyard is in the gas station. First thing is hours of operation. Obviously, I have two small kids. 11, 12 o'clock at night, if they're planning on selling beer, which I don't think they answered that, or any kind of alcoholic beverages, doesn't need to be open at that point. I think 9 o'clock is more than sufficient. Traffic almost dies down. Anybody going at that point is going onto the parkway. People really aren't going out and getting gas. And, I wanted to see where my property is, how tall the fence is going to be, if there's going to be a guardrail. God forbid something happened, and, as it is, my house has been hit. Not my house, my property has been hit 6 times. Drunk drivers coming off the Southern State Parkway. One of them actually went through my fence, through the existing gas station when it was there, and knocked the handles off the pumps. Thank God he didn't hit the pump. But I think traffic-wise, too, how are they planning on keeping cars from pulling out and trying to head back towards the Southern State Parkway? Is there any kind of barrier that can be put down? That intersection is a mess. There's accidents all the time. Cops there all the time. What else was I thinking? That's all I know my neighbors have a lot more in-depth questions for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you for coming down.
It is a very tricky intersection.
Yep. Howard Frunberger? All right. Again, it wasn't Carini, so we're happy. Morning. Your name and address for the record again.
Morning. My name is Howard Frauenberger. I live at 1 Atlas Avenue, which is directly across Atlas Avenue from Chris. His property adjoins this. I actually look towards the proposed gas station. I've had the distinction of living in Malvern for 61 years, and I've lived in 3 different locations, this particular location for the past 19, I guess it is.
Yeah, just a quick reference point for me. So are you actually in the incorporated village portion of it?
No. I'm in the unincorporated town of Hempstead.
Okay.
Which is a wonderful thing because I don't pay village tax. Saves me a lot of money every year.
Oh, boy.
Let me start out by thanking the board for their concern about the proposed property changes. I just learned about this when I stopped on my bike and read the notice that had gone up on the fence. We have not been contacted by the proposed new owners or new operators, and so we're totally oblivious to what the plan was until we just saw it on the screen, which I think is, something that should be corrected. This is pretty much a unique location. As you pointed out, it's on a split essentially between Ocean Avenue and Hempstead Avenue. And there's a right turn arrow right at that light at that split. And people coming south travel at a pretty good speed unless it's rush hour and the light is red. And so anybody trying to get out of that gas station and head to the right or even head across to go to the left is going to have a real problem, especially at rush hour. When the railroad gates are down on Ocean Avenue, we often have gridlock, and it's jammed up all the way back almost to the Parkway with cars. So, you know the area, you know the traffic problems. As a minimum, I think that the community needs to be involved in, as you pointed out, in seeing what the plan really is. But I really think the town of the Nassau County Traffic Bureau really needs to take a good hard look at the traffic situation here because it is very dangerous. People heading north towards the Parkway, when they come out of the village of Malvern, which is notorious for its speeding tickets, usually if the light is green and they're heading towards the Parkway, they floor it, and often they're going 50, 60 miles an hour heading north towards the Parkway, unticketed by Nassau County Police, because I haven't seen a cop give a Nassau cop give a ticket there in 19 years. But the point is, it's a real dangerous situation for people. If they want to go into the station and they're heading north, they got to cross over southbound, 2 lanes of southbound traffic, which presents its own problem. So as a minimum, I think the blind curve presents a really unique situation. I'm glad you're aware of the basic area because it is kind of unique. And when it was an operating gas station, there was a proposal to redo it, and there were several restrictive covenants that this board chose to apply, if you will, to the situation.
I appreciate it. I'm going to ask you to stick around after because obviously we do have some concerns. You can see that, and I think we've expressed to the attorneys that maybe some of the residents don't feel like they've been included. So, of course, I'm going to ask Counselor to get your name and address to do a follow-up with you. Mr. O'Brien's very, very good about that. But like I said, we're just at a hearing right now, so we're going to go through a number of other residents. Rosalie Mastroregio? You don't want to go? Okay. Did I do okay with the name? Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Okay, good. All right. I like that. Joseph, did you want to go? All right.
I wrote
If you'd like to submit it, we will take any submission from the clerk's office and make it part of the record.
It basically shows the history of since I moved there.
We'll be delighted to make that part of the record. Thank you very much. How you doing? If you just give your name and address to the record.
Morning, Joseph Mastrorigo, 200 Lawrence Avenue, directly across the street from what they wanted to do. I've lived there for over 21 years.
Yep.
And when you say, Mr. Ryan, that it's not a 24-hour deal, 5 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night is 18 hours. So to me, that's 24. I don't know if they're serving beer, alcohol. You have to understand something. I've lived there. I had to put a cone in my driveway because the cars that come out turn in my driveway and then they go back to the parkways. So they've ruined the driveway, so now I put a cone there. I've been threatened when people come into the driveway, if I'm putting the garbage out, making that turn. I don't want to be threatened. I lived there a long time, paid a lot of taxes. Not only that, fighting. And then when they go to this station, I'm across the street, you could see. They park their cars in the front of my house, they talk, they yell, they scream, they drink, they fight. I call the police. a lot of times. I don't want to do that. I'm fearful of my property and my life. And when you fear for your life and property, that's a big problem. Tear it down, put a youth hall there, do something for our youth, do something right for the town. Also, if, God forbid, the kids are on the street, they fly up that block. I'm always yelling at people, slow down, and they stop the car, I'll put you to the hospital. Okay, I don't want to argue. But next thing is they don't care. They drink, they throw stuff on my property, beer cans, stuff from the place. I don't like it. You know, what else? Something important. How close is that to the southern state going west and east? God forbid that place is held up. God forbid. The police aren't going to get there in time. They're going to hurt somebody, kill somebody, and they get right on the parkway. You're going to find them? You're not going to find these people. That's scary. Safety. What else? My bedroom faces it. If they put bright lights up, it's bad enough I can't sleep. Pull the shades down, room darkening shades. It's annoying. I can't keep my windows open in the summertime if it's cool out because there's talking, yelling, screaming. Come on. This isn't Fraud Town. Sorry. I appreciate what the attorney is saying, but he doesn't live there and he doesn't have children there. We live there. Okay, what else? That's really about it. But I think I've said enough to get the point across that I don't want it there. I don't think anyone wants it there.
Okay.
They've driven through, like when they make that turn to go down Hempstead Avenue.
No, well, we appreciate you coming in, and we appreciate your comments as always. I got a couple more I want to go through here. Rosalie didn't. Kevin, we've heard from. Is Michael Rubenstein with you?
Yes, he's active.
Okay. I don't have any other slips from any other residents that wish to be heard that did not sign in. Would you like to be heard, sir? Sure, if you can go to the back and give your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Felix Procacci, Franklin Square. I think that it would be beneficial to the residents that before he comes in for the next application hearing, that the town lets them put their materials up on the website so the residents can view exactly what the applicant is proposing, so they don't have to come in and be surprised that it's a black and white drawing and not a color. And I think it should be good, it should be done for all applicants in the future. Thank you.
Okay. I don't have any other slips from any other residents. Mr. Brown, I do have a couple of concerns and questions, and I think rightfully so. The residents have pointed out, just kind of going through it. One thing that I see from your site plan, like I can see it on this map, okay, but I don't see it on the site plan. When you're going down Hempstead Avenue before you go to the Malvern Speed Trap, there's a fork right there in the road.
Correct.
Okay. So if I'm on Morris Avenue, when I come out of your store, you're going to tell people to go left and right, and if you have them go left, you're going to turn them right into an island.
Mr. Supervisor, if I can, perhaps if I've got the radius map here, it just might.
Okay. Well, I'm just looking at the site map, and I'm looking at my eyes, and like I said, I kind of know the area.
Okay, gotcha.
So go zoom back in there. Whoever had that, that was nice. I like that. Okay, let's go to that site map. Zoom it in there. See down at Morris Avenue.
Yes.
Okay. Are you going to have egress coming in from that roadway?
No. What's interesting? It's an interesting, and I met with that property owner right next door. I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name. If you look at the property, it's interesting. We're not technically contiguous to Morris. So you see this little triangular piece of property over there, which is basically lawn. So there's no egress.
Okay. What are you going to have, like a fence and greenery there?
Yeah, so there's greenery over there, and there's a fence we indicated that we're going to replace that fence over there.
So you see where it says 112 on your picture up there?
Yes.
Okay. I just, again, it's so hard.
Yeah.
how many entrances, exits are you going to have along the Hempstead Avenue, Hempstead, right there? How many?
So there will be two. There'll be one at the north side of the site, one towards the south side of the site. And the way the roadway naturally is and the way the site is designed, it's really meant to be a right-hand in and right-hand out type of location.
And,
I think
are
the
you,
councilwoman might.
is that what you're limiting? Are you proposing you're only going to do right hand in and right hand out?
We could certainly do that, yes.
Well, because I would tell you right now, somebody's really accurate when they said you try and make a left-hand turn, you're literally going to be crossing like 6 lanes of traffic to try and get a left-hand turn. That would be like not good.
And you're right. You're absolutely correct. So it is, it is designed in that manner, but we could certainly specify.
Okay. Now I also got. Now I'm looking at the subject property, and I see you have like the dumpster in the back, like up against the Arugos fence.
Right.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, when would that garbage be picked up? Are you going to say to these people it's only going to be picked up between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, typically it's a private carter. And quite frankly, it's interesting. These locations do have dumpsters, but they don't generate the kind of trash that the former repair-oriented service stations.
No, I'm not saying it would, but I'm just saying that if I'm gonna get visited by a garbage truck, what time you thinking that's gonna come in? It's, just like residents like to come in and say, I live next to a gas station. What time are you delivering gas? I mean,
right.
Let's be realistic about it.
Yeah. So we could design that in such a manner that it wouldn't be in the late evening hours or earlier than whenever the town picks up garbage, and we could certainly.
Because then it says back there, grass area, right? It says that your plan says grass area right there, and then I see the boundary. So it's like, are we going to put up a fence with greenery to make a buffer to alleviate that noise? I just see grass area. What are you thinking?
Yeah, no, we'd certainly, personally, I prefer a Leland cypress. I think it's a hardy, disease-resistant type. A lot of people use arborvitaes. I like to actually mix them with other varieties of trees, such as like western red cedars that fill in. Some people like white pines because they'll grow to 20, 30 feet, though I've had other people complain that they're too high and then you have needles. So we'd certainly be willing to even work with, residents if there's a particular variety that they would like. I'm all for that. But absolutely, you need an evergreen, and I believe there are proposed evergreens over there. But certainly, the way we need something to be colored, show the variety of the landscaping, the color of the landscaping, and the like.
I got you. And then your other expert that's here today, what did he check into?
He's the. I don't think he's an expert. I think, yeah.
Did you have any sort of traffic study done to tell us, what you found there?
I don't believe there was. I think we've been in communication with Nassau County and the like, and I think that once again that concept is the right-hand turn in, the right-hand turn out, and that's that I think is the design that even the county has been looking for.
Okay, like I said, because I have some concerns, and I think rightfully so. Someone brought up also the backup when the train comes through. It backs up.
Understood, and there's certainly things, quite frankly, that we can do, and there's certain things that we can't do. I mean, correctly so. You do have, maybe the train, backing up. So we can guide things, we can limit things, we can restrict things, but we certainly can't eliminate a grade crossing.
No, I get you, but I'm saying, it's I just want to know if you're kind of taking into account where you're putting a gas station and with cars are going to pump over that, the cars are coming off the southern state going south, and all of a sudden I'm sitting at the train tracks.
And as a practical matter, if something is blocked, then, just people being what they are, it's got to be easy and simple. If it's difficult or if it's blocked because of people queuing, they're not going to go in.
Obviously, you heard from a couple of the residents that they didn't think they were really informed on it. A couple of the nice gentleman who said he was like jogging by or riding his bike.
Yeah, I'd like to, if the gentleman sticks around, I'd certainly like to meet with him because We had radius maps and everything, prepared and everything sent in accordance with all the regulations. So I'd like to get
Yeah, I think that would
his
really,
name and address after the meeting.
Yeah, I would think that would be a good idea to
certainly.
talk to, the Standish
absolutely.
is and the Master House. I know he just kind of came in. I think he just put in a slip. If you could just stick around here.
Sure.
I saw the Mayor Malvern. You just came in there, Mayor. Do you want to bring up? Did you want to speak regarding this project, or if you go to the back and give your name and address of the record, that'd be awesome. Now come this way, if you could, in front. Have you? Mayor, if you just give your name and address of the record, that'd be great.
Morning, Supervisor. Tim Sullivan, 119 Malvern Avenue, Malvern, New York. As you said, I'm the Mayor of Malvern, and I appreciate you having me here today. Sorry I was held up at another meeting. I had announced this hearing at our village board meeting recently. We're well aware that this property is located in the town of Hempstead, not within the incorporated village, but we've had many residents express over the years concern and really negative feelings towards the condition of this property and how it's been maintained over certainly over the last 4 years that I've been in office and more recently as mayor. Trucks being stored there, garbage being stored there. I know I spoke with former town councilman Bruce Blakeman when he was here, and the town took some action to maybe condemn the property. I don't know what the action was, but certainly had graffiti painted over. They had fencing, site safety fencing put around the property. So the town board has been helpful to us as a village and the residents, and for that we're appreciative. But the condition of this property is just awful. As you know, we have a quaint small village that has a nice appearance, and the entrance to our village is this really run down, broken windows, trash strewn everywhere. Even if the intent of the landowner was to redevelop this parcel, they should be doing it in a tasteful manner where you have site fencing that maybe masks what's being done behind, and that's not what they're doing here. I didn't have a chance to review the amended site plan. I did see the public notice where there are 3 gas or bays being installed, which I will note are already in the ground. So I'm not sure how that applies to this application at this point. I don't know if that's an amendment or an add-on, where there were 2 in the past. So I imagine that they want to increase capacity. I also don't really know how the traffic patterns are going to work, but I would express on behalf of the residents of Malvern Park and in the town of Hempstead concern if there was any traffic being redirected onto Morris Avenue. That's something that we would not want. We wouldn't want, cars exiting off onto Morris and then through the village. We'd also, and the Councilwoman Ryder had told me that there were being hours proposed for the convenience store. We would advocate that they not be 24 hours, that the hours be limited, and that any site plan considered here today would take those into consideration. And of course, I've noticed that the board has been advocating for tasteful landscaping. That's something that we would certainly ask for your consideration as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mayor. And I know you've been in communication with us, and I appreciate you bringing up the facts. You had some nice things to say about the village, too, just so you know. Thank you, Mayor. Any other residents who did not sign in who wish to be heard? Look, Mr. O'Brien, I'm just going to be very forthcoming on this one with you. I think, you've heard from not only neighboring officials, you've heard from, my colleagues on the town board as well as the residents. There's a real concern about this and the visual. In addition, I do have concerns about the traffic flow. Even if you're pushing a right-hand turn, then you're flowing the traffic directly into the village of Malvern. I think there are a lot of key elements that you need to be worked on. Coordinating, like I said, the mayor, he's like 200 feet from the area, and he might love the traffic flow down there, and he might not like the traffic flow, but we all try and work together. In addition, I think the residents, and as well as myself, and I don't want to speak for my town board member, it's tough to really get a visual on this one. It's tough to, to see exactly what you're doing here, and clearly not in black and white. With that, is there anything you wanted to add up before?
Certainly. But just one comment that you want to make is that generally a location such as this is usually a local gas station, so it's usually the local residents that are going to be coming to something like this. But I have and understand what the mayor said. I understand what the deputy supervisor, what yourself and the other board members have said, and what the community have said. And I'd like to be able to address those concerns in a concise, cohesive fashion, and send that back to the board, because I think at the end of the day that this would be a great improvement to that particular site and the area. But you're right, the picture wasn't really set forth in a manner that can be clearly understood. So I'd like the opportunity to be able to take into account all the different comments that have been made from everyone and be able to address those and resubmit some of that sort of information, and hopefully that will work to everyone's advantage.
And I appreciate that. I do not want you to go into the premise ever that the only people who are going to shop at the gas station are local. I live within a driver of a gas station, and I don't go to the gas station, not because I don't like them, it's because they charge about 40 cents more a gallon. Listen, I'm a frugal guy. That's the way it is. I actually drive to a neighboring community because it's a lot cheaper. So if the price is right, that's where the resident's going to go. And maybe this gas station will have the cheapest price on Long Island. But if that's the case, then they're going to get a lot of traffic. And you have to be realistic with this one. And like I said, this one's a little tough to kind of get the visual around.
Understood.
All right.
Understood. We'll try to get that visual for
Okay. If I had a motion on that.
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor, in light of all the comments and concerns that have been made for the lack of color renderings and an adequate traffic study, which, might I add, would be good to include perhaps a no turn on Morris Avenue sign. I suggest or make a motion that we adjourn the application.
Okay. Can I get a second on the adjourn?
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye, but I'd like to
Councilwoman-
add something. I've listened, and one of the things that you did not do is send out cards to the residents that are being affected by this, so they would have something to read, or you have a meeting with them before you come back.
Certainly. I could resend. And anybody who's still here, I'm certainly willing to meet with anybody in the back.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you vote?
Did you vote?
I vote aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Mr. O'Brien, we appreciate this. Obviously, look, you've got a lot of concerns, and like I said, even from the mayor next door, I would ask any of the residents that came here today to please give your name and number to Mr. O'Brien. There's been no decision here. We've adjourned the hearing based on the concerns of residents. But you know what? Like I said, we appreciate it, but we're not where we need to be to kind of make a decision on this one. All right?
Understood. And I feel also, while I don't live next door to it, I feel I live here too, and I want to have something to be proud of and meet those concerns. So I'll certainly meet with anyone.
And thank you, and I thank all the residents for coming out and talking, and I do recommend you, if especially the gentleman who said he didn't even know about the notice on the bike, riding by on his bike, please give the information, and if and when this hearing ever comes up again, we will keep the residents informed. And thank you, Mayor, for taking the time to come out here today. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Yes, we have a combination of companion decisions. Number 11 is the application of Bola EM Realty LLC for a variance from provisions of the GSS ordinance to repeal and replace restrictive covenants, site plan approval, and to install storage tanks in Wantagh. The companion decision accepts a declaration of restrictive covenants incidental to and in connection with granting the petition of Bola EM Realty LLC for a variance from provisions of the GSS ordinance to repeal and replace restrictive covenants, site plan approval, and to install storage tanks again in Wantagh.
All right, may I please have a motion on decisions 11 and 12 simultaneously, Madam Clerk? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I move that the board adopt the items.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Both decisions have passed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, please call the administrative calendar.
On the administrative calendar, we have items 13 through 47.
Okay, any member of the board wish to speak on the administrative calendar? Okay, I have a couple of people who want to speak. We'll start with Felix Procacci. Morning, give your name and address for the record, thanks.
Felix Procacci, Franklin Square. On number 39, what experience does John Conroy have in working, operating, and managing a water system, water department?
Mr. Procacci is an appointment from the town board to the Water Authority. You're very clear at, Mr. Conroy's extensive history as the commissioner of probably one, if not the largest department in the town of Hempstead. We're dealing with sanitation pickup of residents, and that's a combination of sanitary, environmental concerns, recycling concerns, also emergency concerns. He was here during one of the largest storms in the history of Long Island, did a masterful job. I think he has a resume that brings nothing but expertise in management overview, and did a tremendous job as the Commissioner of Sanitation during his tenure here. And I think that speaks volumes, and that's why we think he's a proper fit.
So he doesn't have any experience.
No, I didn't say that at all, Mr. Procacci. Don't put words in people's mouths. I gave you exactly his.
Well, you mentioned sanitation, you didn't mention water. I just want to clarify what you said.
No. I don't need you to
Correct me,
clarify
please.
anything, Mr.
Correct me,
Procacci.
please.
In all due respect,
Feel
I don't
free
need you to
to clarify.
clarify any words that I say.
Okay, you didn't, okay, am I correct in saying that you did not mention he has any experience in water?
Mr. Procacci, I answered the question.
Okay, yeah, thank you. There's a lot of issues. I don't live in that area, as you know, but people are concerned about this, the water rates going up. What I'm always for is I think that you need a board member that will bring transparency to it so people can understand the system. Why are the rates going up? What are the current costs? We need board members who call for meetings. If meetings aren't being held, should reach out to the public and say, why isn't this board meeting? There needs to be communication. You emphasized that in the previous application, and I agree with you on that. See, we agree on something, Don. And see, it could happen.
Big huggy coming soon.
Yeah, it could happen. But the thing is, there got to be communication between the people and the board, just like there's communication here sometimes. So I just think that this board member should encourage that. If the board doesn't meet on a regular basis, he should reach out to the community and have them come down here and complain and have those board members removed if they don't want to meet. But you need an active board member. I don't know the money. I did try to look into this. I couldn't find anything about the finances, so I'm not going to render opinion whether it's viable to take over or not, like anything like that. But the communication has to be there, and I've heard from all the residents who speak on this, it's not. And I can't find anything on the town's website either. Thank you very much.
Mr. Procacci, just so you know, after this appointment, it's my understanding they will be calling for a meeing. But I mean, all I'll say is this. John Conroy's he really did a tremendous job. A great administrator in sanitation. Like I said, it is a yeoman's job that not only deals with simply picking up your garbage, it also deals with recycling, tremendous amount of environmental concerns that he had to deal with the state, DEC, and the federal government. He also, as I said, helped administer during any storm we've ever had here, Superstorm Sandy, through any of the snowstorms. He's done a tremendous job, and frankly, during the time period I've been here, he's probably nothing criticizing anybody else here. He's a guy who generally gets nice compliments from people all around because he does a solid job, and I have a lot of faith that he's going to go on this and do a tremendous job. No, I appreciate it, and if you'd like after, I'll give you a big hug because I enjoyed that moment. Next, I'm going to call up Claudia Barecki. Good morning. If you give your name and address for the record.
Claudia Barecki, 28 Washington Drive, co-director of Allied Clean Air, Water, and Soil. The South Nassau Water Authority was fully established with your 3 appointments and the 2 county appointments in February of last year. In Liberty's sales agreement with American Water, LI Clean Air, Water, and Soil made sure that the South Nassau Water Authority was specifically named as a municipality interested in acquiring Hempstead's portion of American Water. Liberty agreed to a schedule for public acquisition, which, quote, shall, not may, shall commence immediately upon the establishment of the Water Authority. It provided 6 steps, beginning with giving the water authorities 90 days after its formation to submit document requests. Step 6 was to be taken place within 375 days and provided that if and when the parties reach agreement for acquisition by the Water Authority, the parties shall draft, negotiate, and execute a purchase agreement. It is now over 450 days since the Water Authority was fully established. Dave Denenberg and I fought hard to set a reasonable timetable for the public acquisition of Liberty. Yet the South Nassau Water Authority, established over a year ago, has not held one single public meeting. The public takeover should have happened months ago, as prescribed in Liberty's sales agreement with American Water. Your appointees have been derelict in their duties. It is egregious that you express outrage that Liberty is raising our rates by 42% when it's your fault. Blaming North and South Shore state funding inequities as the reason not to meet is without merit, because the North Shore Water Authority has been holding meetings without receiving a dime from the state. For over a century, the town and county have had no problem collecting more than $15 million per year in taxes that are paid by Liberty's Hempstead customers, which no other ratepayer on Long Island pays. The true inequity is the town and county taxing private water ratepayers while providing tax-free municipal water to over 80% of its residents. Since those taxes are only paid by Liberty's customers, some of that money should be set aside for the authority's operations. Your appointees must do their jobs. The public needs to hear the status of its negotiations with Liberty. It needs to meet now. I'd just like to say that as far as the actual commissioners go and a way of contacting you, there is nothing on the website that gives us a way to contact the Water Authority or the commissioners, and some of the emails I had were wrong, so I appreciate you correcting that and giving us the opportunity.
We appreciate it, and as I said, it's my understanding that after the appointment's done, they'll be calling for a meeting, and thank you again for raising the concern that the governor felt fit to give the North Shore Water Authority with substantially less customers $1 million while not giving to the South Shore customers any money whatsoever. You know, it's unfortunate. And lastly, Ms. Bragg, thank you so much. No, you had your chance. The lastly, I do want to point out, and I do appreciate it was my understanding that there were some recommendations that David Denenberg be appointed to the Water Authority, but I think at the last meeting, Councilman Carini pointed out that it would have been illegal to us to appoint it. What was the reason why? No, Ms. Barecki, you've had your chance. Thank you, Ms. Barecki. No, Mrs. Barecki, you had your 3 minutes. Thank you so much. Councilman Carini, no, that's okay. You can yell all you want. Mrs. Barecki, Councilman Carini is going to, gentlemen, if you turn it off, if Ms. Barecki likes to scream. Anyway, Councilman Carini, could you explain to Mrs. Barecki why it would have been illegal? Mrs. Barecki, you can stand in the back. Public Safety is going to ask you to please, Ms. Barecki, you're making me nervous. You're making me very nervous. You're making me very uncomfortable. Ms. Barecki, Mrs. Barecki, please. I thank you so much.
Can I speak?
Councilman Carini, if you can explain that's very nice. I'm very uncomfortable. Thank you.
So the issue I have with CAUSE is their code director that was circling a petition to put an 8-time convicted felon who pled guilty for 8 felonies for bilking, as per Newsday, $2.3 million from his clients. Now, when I hear CAUSE and their quote unquote their statistics, their code director, by the way, who you were his legislative aide, basically I have a problem with their integrity, their numbers, because he was pled guilty and served a 90-day sentence for $2.3 million for taking that from a client. So I am really sorry if I do not trust his numbers. I don't trust his integrity. And no, I will not take anything. Have a good day, Ms. Barecki.
Ms. Barecki, thank you. Rich Moskowitz is next. Rich Moskowitz, your opportunity to be heard, Mr. Moskowitz. Please, public safety. I'm feeling very uncomfortable with Ms. Barecki approaching us and screaming in this fashion, Commissioner. If need be, please, I'm feeling very uncomfortable again.
Have a good day, Ms.
I feel
Barecki.
there's a very uncomfortable, hostile situation being created by Ms. Barecki. I'm sorry, I'm very sensitive. Mr. Moskowitz, this is your opportunity instead of Ms. Barecki screaming, sir. Thank you so much.
My name is Rich Moskowitz. I live at 3083 Whale Neck Drive, Merrick, New York. The reason why I'm here is that I'm just a homeowner in Merrick since 1974. And I went through about 4 or 5 different water companies already. And through the time, I understand Mr. Denenberg, was locked up once, whatever. I was in law enforcement. And I know that some people can be reformed. So I can understand integrity and that matter of fact, what was done between Barecki, Denenberg, but I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is that when you read some of the statistics, how we pay $900 to have a hydrant where other public water places only pay $70, it's all reflected, and it involves an awful lot of homeowners. And when I speak to my neighbors, whatever, some that are politically astute, they say, how come nothing's ever being done about it? And naturally, you just throw up your hands. But Denenberg and Barecki are the only ones, no matter what their background is, that have done anything. And one thing...
Well, their background does matter, sir, because I was in law enforcement, too. And if you're aware, Mr. Denenberg also pled guilty to a misdemeanor years prior for signatures.
Yes, and
so this is not the first time he's been pled guilty. So as a former law enforcement officer, I am sorry. His integrity matters to this board. And Mr. Town Attorney will explain the process of how this New York Water Authority Board will operate. Now, the problem I have is they provided no funding. No funding like the North Shore, none. I also pay American Water. I pay triple the amount of money. It's a crime. But the bottom line is the state broke it, they didn't want to fix it, and they threw it out to the ocean. And I'm sorry if I don't... Let me speak, Ms. Barecki, you spoke. So this Long Island cause is basically a former legislator and his aide to resurrect a dead political career for her former boss, who is again, pled guilty, didn't fight the charge. He went guilty, guilty, guilty for 8 felonies counts. That's as per Newsday. This is not me. This is as per Newsday. He then served a 90-day sentence at a federal jail. Again, as per Newsday. So yes, I do have a problem with this organization's integrity. The 2 people that run it have a very checkered past, and I'm not going to listen to a former legislative aide of a convicted felon try to resurrect a political career here at the town of Hempstead. The town attorney will explain how the water authorities can go forward, what we're required to do, if we can do that, Mr. Attorney. And that's where it's going to stay. So I'm sorry, I do not take any credit to what Ms. Barecki and Ms. Denenberg say. Period. Have a good day.
Thank you.
We're going to go through the sign-in, just like Ms. Barecki had a chance to yell. Mr. Moskowitz, I'm going to go through a couple others. No, ma'am, have a seat. Patricia Highland. Oh, it's Ms. Highland's turn, ma'am. Ms. Highland's turn. No, we go through the sign-in sheet, and then I give you opportunity to speak, ma'am. Ms. Highland, if you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
My name is Patricia Highland. I live at 2309 Howe Street in Merrick. I have been living there for 20 years, and 22 years before that, I lived in Baldwin. So it has been town of Hempstead all the way. And it has always troubled me that our cost of water is so much greater than Freeport, for example, and other communities. My understanding recently is that Liberty Utilities is requesting an outrageous, like 42% increase in the cost of water. I understand that there was a bill passed to set up the South Nassau Water Authority, and that no public meetings have taken place. I also understand that North Shore and Massapequa have also been invited to set up public water utility of water. And though money was offered by the state, that money was never delivered to them. So it did not impede them from having meetings and making progress toward starting the public control of water in our area. So I'm not finding the fact that the money is not present a good excuse for there not being public hearings. So I am requesting that public hearings begin immediately, since the last person to the board has just is being appointed. That's what this meeting is about. I have no idea of, I'm not familiar with that person, but I'm delighted that the last person has been assigned. And I want people on the board here and in the audience to understand that delay on having public hearings costs the taxpayers money. I made a nice little poster because sometimes a visual is helpful. The fact that this is delayed is costing us taxpayers money, and I expect better service than that. So I'm hoping that this will move forward very quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Highland. We appreciate your nice comments. Next, I have John Highland. When I call your name, ma'am? No, ma'am, when I call your name. There was a sign-in. Did you sign in the beginning of the meeting? I didn't know. Okay, if you go to the back there, they'll take your name and sign you in there. Dominic, can you wave? Can you help her sign in? Thanks. Mr. Highland, if you give your name and address for the record, that'd be great.
Okay. I'm John Highland. I live at 2309 Howe Street, Merrick. And I'm glad that the person has finally been appointed, so you have a full board. I would hope that a timetable would be forthcoming. My wife already said most of what I wanted to say, and I'm just reinforcing it. However, I would add that we have public schools, we have public libraries, we have public sanitation, we have public roads, many public institutions that make our living conditions worthwhile. I would recommend to the board that it's time for public water. Other places have done it. It's possible. And I would hope that we would hear some progress report in some way soon. I was disappointed, really, in the discussion earlier. It sounded like sort of a character assassination. I mean, it's one thing to remind people about what's going on, but with the person's background. But that was, I thought, somewhat beyond the beyond. And the last thing I would say is that I hope Mr. Conroy is good for this job. I'm glad he was competent in his previous jobs. I'm not sure that a person who's a good manager in one field necessarily is a good manager in another field, especially when I would think water management is a quite specific and technical field. So thank you for the meeting, and I hope these remarks are taken into consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Highland. Mr. Highland, I just want to let you know, I don't think it's a matter of anybody doing a character assassin. There was some people pushing for an appointment of an individual that it's illegal for us to appoint them because he's a criminal, and people make their own decisions and take pleas and make decisions in life, and they're held accountable. I think Councilman Carini was just pointing out that you've had people promoting somebody, and the reality is it's illegal for even to appoint them, and it isn't character assassination when he points out that he took a plea in federal court a plea that I've listened. I'm an attorney as well. The judge asked specific questions, and he knew the exact plea, and I don't think it was inappropriate for the councilman to point out that it involved millions of dollars. It was his decision. He took the plea, but most importantly, the fact that, and the town attorney will correct me if I'm wrong, it would be illegal for him to be appointed to that entity. Am I correct?
Our code forbids us from appointing him.
Yeah, and that's it. So I don't think it was, I think it was, we're trying to let people know that you've had some people promoting people, and they think the best thing is to just stand up and scream at meetings, when he's just trying to say it would be an inappropriate, and again, some people just can't help themselves apparently. They think that the louder they scream, they think we'll pay attention, but it would be illegal for us to do the appointments. I don't think that it was a character assassination. I think it was just, Mrs. Barecki, please stop. Mrs. Brecky, I got a great idea. What we'll do is we'll print up the minutes from federal court, and you can go home and read that plea all by yourself. Leonard Sussman, you're next. Leonard Sussman?
He's over here to the left.
Yep. Yeah, he's coming over. He's coming over. Good morning, Mr. Sussman. If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Good morning. I live at 1767 Park Avenue in Merrick, North Merrick. I've been a resident since 1969. And I believe the town needs to expedite the move toward public water. It seems somewhat unconscionable that the citizens who are within the Liberty service area are paying the rates they are paying, and that while the Public Service Commission and the rules may allow the level of increase that is sought, it is a burden on the residents, which I would hope the town, in its wisdom and its desire to serve its constituents, would make a more determined effort to correct the inequity of the citizens having to pay the rates that they are currently paying and are projected to pay in the reasonably near future, should the rates be formally approved. I'm not sure if they have been as yet, but it does seem like it is more than a reasonable amount of increase given inflation. As to the question of the individuals that have been mentioned today as possible for consideration for appointment, in all fairness to Mr. Denenberg and to the councilman, our society does allow for people to, over the course of time, shall we say, compensate for misdeeds that may have done. As I recall the situation with Mr. Denenberg, it admittedly was wrong, and I believe he has come to grips with that over time. I think some of the other good deeds that he has done with regard to the environment, with regard to the beach shore cleaning, and other services through the Kiwanis, Americawanis, in terms of being responsible for food drives, and I don't know what other deeds he has done within the Kiwanis environment. I can understand
Mr. Sussman, we appreciate your very,
concern.
very thoughtful remarks.
Pardon?
And we appreciate your very thoughtful remarks on both the water and the individual. As I said, I believe that after today's appointment's done, the Water Authority will be doing a hearing, and when they do, we'll put it on the town website. If you'd like to give your name and number to one of the aides here today, I'll be happy to make sure they send an email out to you to let you know when. But we appreciate your very thoughtful comments here today. Next, I have
thank you.
Maybe Francine McDaniel. Okay. So you know what? Maybe public safety. You guys will grab that back there. Oh, is that yours? Okay. Thank you very much. That was nice of you to turn that over. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sussman. McDaniel? Francine McDaniel? No? Okay. I have Barbara Hafner. How you doing? Good morning. Could I have your name and address for the record?
Yeah, hi, Barbara Hafner, 202 Walker Place, West Hempstead, New York. I, too, am a Liberty Water customer, unfortunately. On my block, we live in the house that my husband's parents built in 1950. Just like the previous gentleman, I've had several private companies take my money. And on my block, you have 3 houses that have West Hempstead water. My house and everyone on my side has Liberty Water. I've been a union leader. I was the president of my union for 19 years. I served on Long Island Federation of Labor Board for 10 years. And I've served on the NYSEP Board of Directors for 14 years. I know what union leadership, and in particular, I know what your leadership is all about. And leadership is representing their members. And I see you as elected officials as your responsibility is to represent your members. And we are your members, the people who live in the town of Hempstead. I don't know why this has taken so long. I have no problem reaching out to the state government officials that I have elected to represent me to find out if you need this money immediately, let's get it done, because this is taking much too long. My bill I got yesterday was $175 for 1 month. My neighbor across the street, 3-month bill was $60. You tell me what's wrong with that picture. And today in Newsday, Liberty Water is now suing Lawrence because they're not paying their water bill for their fire hydrants. God forbid there is a fire and there's a problem with their water. Come on, this is an election year. I will be sure to make sure that every person that's going to represent me is on top of this. And I expect you, Mr. Muscarelli, you are my representative. You all got letters from me asking what's happening. I even volunteered to sit on the commission because we need to get moving here. No more dragging feet, no more excuses. This is not about any organization. This is about the people that you represent. And it's time to truly represent us and care about the money that I am spending for water that should be public. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hafner. Dorothy Kozel? Good afternoon, Ms. Kozel. If you give your name and address for the record.
Dorothy Kozel, 221 Walker Place, West Hempstead. I just have one question, and actually an observation. We spent a half hour talking about a garage, and everybody on the board seemed very concerned. We're spending now 10, 15 minutes on this water issue that involves thousands of people, and none of you look like you have the same concern over this water issue as you have about a garage. My question to you is, why is it that it's taken our South Nassau board to be formed 1 year, and yet the North Nassau and the Massapequa boards are more than halfway on their way to getting their water public?
Okay. Well, like I said, we're doing the appointment today, and
But why did it take a year for us to
and we had a
get
couple
board?
of members that, you know what, they ended up having to resign from the board. You know, one of them we're blessed to be as a town board member. Like I said, it's the appointment. They'll be doing their meetings. And as of for the other jurisdictions, I'm not too sure what they're going to do. Maybe you have insight that I've heard numerous things about. I'm just saying you've made a representation, but I'm saying I've heard numerous things that those entities may or may not be now making the recommendation. I think it's something we all need to monitor. Yeah, listen, everyone said LIPA was going to be the greatest thing in the world. You know what? It's didn't quite work out as well as some people thought. So I said, well, actually, it is our concern because you just said if the other entities find out that it's actually going to cost communities more for it, this is a good process. That's why you just can't say it's going to do. The board will meet. We'll, of course, let the residents, we'll put it on the town website where they're going to go meet, and you can go down and you can express it to them. And like I said, John Conroy is going to be a great asset to this board. He's done a tremendous job, and they'll do their due diligence. They'll do it in an open and transparent manner, and they'll do a great job.
When will they have their first meeting?
Again, I said earlier, when we find out when they're going to have their first meeting after the appointment, because they couldn't do the, they can't do the appointment until, they can't schedule the meeting until after the appointment. We'll be happy to let you know.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go. Okay. Eleanor Wexler? Good afternoon. If you give your name and address for the record.
My name is Eleanor Wexler. I live at 2707 Lincoln Boulevard in Merrick for over 48 years. I've seen other water companies, Brooklyn Water, American Water, now we have Liberty Water. Neighboring districts have public water. Why do we have a Canadian company, Liberty Water, representing us? Why don't we have public water too? We're looking at a 42% increase in our bills in the future. Mr. Clavin, please support us. We need your help in getting public water like our neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wexler. Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming today. I have James Jacobs. Did you want to speak on this as well, Mr. Jacobs? No. On the administrative calendar? Yes. If you give your name and address for the record, that'd be great. Item number what on the administrative calendar?
Item 20 about the taxation.
Which one?
Okay, the first number in front of it. Forgive me.
No worries.
No. I want to do it correctly.
Yeah.
Good morning or good afternoon, Supervisor Kelly, Deputy Supervisor Guzman, and the council people. The first number is 2964. Item is 23. And basically, I want to have a clarification of the taxation programming from Harris Governing about what's the new tax function for collection of financial management information. Point of clarification.
So you're asking about number 23 is for the Harris Govern for the computer
yeah, because it says it's going to be some kind of change being made and being
if I'm not mistaken, and you correct me if correct me, it's a system update they're doing for the tax system. They use that system, and periodically, they do upgrades in the system, and you got to buy into the upgrade. That's how they kind of lock in.
I understand that, Supervisor, but my question for clarification that when you do an upgrade, it's pertaining for new tax rolls for the property, corporate, whatever. Is this when you do upgrades, use a function of another program pertaining to a function in the computer, for tax purposes, for schools?
You have the existing software, and then they do periodic updates. Of course, as you're well aware, the tax office doesn't do any determinations on assessments or anything like that. That's done by the county. In addition, the software upgrade could be the fact that when the county updates their system, the municipalities also have to update their system so they can all communicate, because the county transfers the data down to the different jurisdictions, let it be the towns or the cities. So this is just merely a IT-related update on the software.
Okay, I understand that. But that's why when I make my check out to the town's tax receiver, that's pertaining to the new information from this computer system being installed then.
You've lost me.
Well, that's what I'm trying to understand what you're saying, because when I make my checks out to pay the taxes,
the county values your property. The county then sets your assessment. The county then gets the numbers from the school districts, will say, and calculate based on you know, the different classes, what everyone has to pay in property taxes. This update software is just merely so they can get the information, print out the bills, mail them to you. You can send them to Ms. Driscoll, and then she'll forward them to the school districts or the county, whatever entity is getting the money.
Oh, okay. Now, I have not, since you explained that way, it's a better understanding. Okay, I just want to make sure we was on the same page. Because when I come to the town and pay my taxes, I'm going to make sure it goes to the right people for the right rate. And thank you for that.
That's it?
Yep, that's it.
Forget my hand. All right, I don't have any other slips on the administrative calendar. If you'd like to be heard, if you go to the back there and give your name and address, that'd be great. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Pearl Jacobs, Uniondale. Our precious commodity of water, item number 39, our precious commodity of water, our sole source aquifer. When will an updated report be available concerning the quality and remaining water usage?
Commissioner Reinhardt, are you here? Can you, after the meeting, Mr. Reinhardt, of course, meet Ms. Jacobs and find out what relevant information should be good? Great? Okay.
Right. This is a crucial issue that must be addressed, and especially relating to the proposed casino project at the Nassau Hub. I hope that the environmental impact study will be done in a transparent, factual, and unbiased manner. And let's say no to the casino. Item number 19, 20, and 21. Action needs to be taken regarding the reckless use of fireworks in residential neighborhoods. Our Nassau County Police Department does an excellent job of attempting to mitigate this quality of life issue. Government needs to take a stronger stance. And the laws, even though you have a law on the books, but laws without teeth are absolutely useless regarding this. I'm going to speak to Councilman Dunn. Councilman Dunn, I know you are a veteran, and thank you for your service, sir. We have veterans that live in our communities that they have PTSD. I know a few of them that have PTSD. This takes a toll on their mental health, so much so that one of our veterans, elderly man who served in, one of our previous wars, he cannot stay in his home during the summer. I'll wait till you stop speaking, Mr. Supervisor Clemens.
No, Ms. Jacobs, it's your time, and the councilman's one thing I know about the councilman, he's listening to you, and I said to him, everyone can hear you.
Councilman Dunn, I'm imploring to you to help the veterans who suffer from this PTSD, this gentleman has to leave his home from April to September because he cannot deal with the barrage of fireworks that occurs in his neighborhoods. Now, these people fought for our country, died for our country, and they can't come and they can enjoy their neighborhoods. And with the taxes that they pay here, whether they pay no taxes at all, you should be able to have a good quality of life. They've had enough explosives and detrimental effects to their mental health. They don't need any further.
Okay.
And I would ask.
If you have
I would ask our veteran.
Ms. Jacobs, it doesn't work that way.
Can you stop talking over me?
No.
I'm talking to Councilman Dunn.
Ms. Jacobs.
Councilman Dunn, I would hope that you help us with this. Thank you so much.
Ms. Jacobs, perhaps you can actually give the name and address of the veteran, but also remember that the county police department, which do a tremendous job, would be in respect to the enforcement, and I know that they work very, very closely with a lot of organizations, a lot of civic groups in Uniondale, and if there are constantly fireworks going on in this guy's house from April to June, of course,
not in his house, all over the community. All over the community, okay? And laws without teeth are useless. Why don't you send mailers? Ms. Goolsbee said about mailers going out. Send mailers about the fireworks. Okay. Educate the people.
Once again, Ms. Jacobs, I know you're well aware that the county police are for the enforcement of that, and I'm sure you're in contact with them.
Dump on the police, as usual.
Nice
Do your jobs.
Okay, Ms. Jacobs, thank you so much. We are always a pleasure. I don't have any other slips. Does anybody else wish to be heard on the administrative calendar? If not, may I have a motion on the administrative calendar?
Second. Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Okay, thank you all. That concludes the formal portion of today's meeting. The town will now remain to listen to the residents' comments, and we'll start off with Lewis Noon. Deputy Supervisor, what did you want to add?
I would like to add the fact that we wish all of the men here who are fathers have hope you had a great holiday.
Thank you very much. It was very nice of you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Okay, did you sign up for the administrative calendar, the calendar, or the public comment section? Okay, that's what we're calling now.
Yes, now.
Okay, no worries. Lewis Noon? Okay, Felix Bacacci? Your name and address for the record, thanks.
Felix Bacacci, Franklin Square. At the last meeting, the town attorney implied the reason my FOIA requests were not being processed properly was because I made too many FOIA requests. My records show for this year I made 18 FOIA requests, and 12 should not have been necessary had the town followed the open meetings law and attached the data with the resolutions. If the town cannot process FOIA requests in the legally required time frame, they are required by law to provide a reason for the delay. If the town does not provide the records, they are required by law to provide the reason the records are being denied. Currently, my request for the 2020 TV advertising is nearly 2 years old, and the town said recently in court papers that these records were provided to me. I emailed the FOIA appeals officer telling him I have no record of receiving this response, and if he could resend them to me. The FOIA appeals officer did not reply. I also have outstanding FOIA requests in which trade secrets and privilege is being claimed by the town, but the town refuses to provide me with redacted records or a detailed explanation, which is required by law. In my response to my request for the animal trainer agreement, the town simply provided me with the same resolution cited in my FOIA request, which did not contain the agreement. In the response to my request showing when the URD-C district moratorium started, the town provided me with the resolution showing when the moratorium was extended. These are all violations of the law, and I'm glad we have some people up there who are concerned about violations of the law. The town is required by law to send FOIA appeals and their determinations to the Committee on Open Government. It costs nothing. You just CC the Committee on Open Government in the email, and they refuse to do that, and we are in court over that. So I love to see all these people who are concerned by the law start following the law and speaking out. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Bacacci. You have a great day. Next, I have Pearl Jacobs. Good afternoon. If you give your name and address for the record.
Pearl Jacobs, President of North Garden Civic Association in Uniondale. Uniondale is now saturated with vans selling various fruits, food trucks, and people, primarily women, at times with babies strapped onto their bodies, skirting in and out of traffic on Hempstead Turnpike, ranked as the 5th most dangerous roadway in New York State. Selling food, drinks, and other foodstuffs. On Uniondale Avenue, I saw seafood being sold out of a cooler on the sidewalk. If this does not constitute a health and safety issue, I do not know what does. The food that is sold from these vans, trucks, and sidewalks, coolers are not vetted regarding sanitary standards. Does the town of Hempstead enforce safety standards concerning brick and mortar food establishments? I know I won't get an answer for that, but these vans and trucks also impede traffic on our local roadways, Uniondale Avenue, Jerusalem Avenue, and Front Street. Many times cars double park alongside the vans and trucks to make a purchase, impeding the traffic flow down on our already congested roadways. The police have issued tickets as many times these trucks and vans park partially on the sidewalk, impeding residents' walkability. A resident informed me that these vans are left parked on our roadways overnight and are replenished with fruit the next morning. It is my understanding that these vendors have been issued peddler's license from the town of Hempstead's clerk's office, and that the majority of these vendors are from Brooklyn. I drive extensively through Nassau County, and I do not see vendors selling food from vans and from coolers sitting on the dirty ground. I do not see peddlers walking between vehicles selling food on busy, dangerous roadways. Why are these sorts of issues that violate governmental health and safety standards that have detrimental effects on the quality of life for thousands of residents allowed to languish in minority communities? Why is this okay in Uniondale? Would this be okay in your communities? I can answer that question with, of course not. Taxpaying residents of Uniondale strongly request that this extremely concerning health and safety issue be resolved as soon as possible. I would like to speak with someone from the clerk's office after this meeting regarding this issue.
Ms. Jacobs, we had heard of your complaints, and I've certainly seen them as I drive home. We took a search of our peddler's licenses. We have not issued any peddler's licenses for anybody selling fruit along Jerusalem Road. Also, with regard to food, and that is strictly by the Department of Health in Nassau County, and also, we do not have enforcement capabilities or authority for enforcing whether a person has a viable peddler's license. Instead, the Nassau County Police Department does that enforcement
it's
as well.
Nassau County everything defers to the Nassau County Police Department. My question is, where are the peddler's license being issued from? Your office, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
So why aren't these people vetted?
They're
why
not.
Aren't these people vetted?
That was my point. My very first point was we went through the peddler's licenses that we have issued, and we have none. So the point is, these people are setting up shop without the benefit of any vetting by the town clerk's office. So the enforcement of that, when a person does not have a peddler's license, is with the police department. And in fact, we have spoken with the inspectors of the relevant police precincts to increase their patrols based upon your complaints and based upon my visual inspection as well with the police department. So we have already had several conversations with the inspectors with regard to this very issue.
Well, thank you, and I have spoken with them as well. I will relay your information to them. I would convey that to them, and it's not only Jerusalem, it's Uniondale Avenue and Front Street as well. So we will collaborate on this to get rid of this public service, public quality of life.
We appreciate it, and we'll forward the complaints, of course, to your county legislator, as well as Hempstead Turnpike is a New York State road, and we'll relay that to your state and assembly members. I'm sure they're just as concerned. And again, thank you, and always nice to see you. Next, I have Patty Harris. Patty Harris? Okay. Yep. How you doing? Good. Afternoon, if you give your name and address for the record.
Patty Harris, and I live in Uniondale. I would like to know, there's a location, a barber shop that is on Waverly Place in Uniondale. Did they get a license for social hosting with their barber shop?
If you'd like to follow up and give us a name and address, we'll be, can't answer the question right now.
Okay. This location has been having enormous parties where they're barbecuing with over 20 barbecues, the little portable barbecues, the loud music, they have motorcycles and racing cars and everything. They shut down that whole block. It's on the side of Cedar Street. Waverly is, the park is in between Cedar Street and Waverly. So they take over that parking lot. People can't even take their kids into Cedar Street Park. So I would like to know about that license. Also, when there was construction on Maple and Waverly, this construction people put a yield sign, but they never put the stop sign back. So the residents around there said they've been calling, they've been sending mail for them to have a stop sign put back on Maple and Waverly. And the third one is an update on the California Avenue house that I call the Zoo House. Because this person that lives there seems to have some type of connection where he's getting away with 7 to 10 raccoons live in his house. The house is, I don't like talking about people's houses because that's their house. But when it started affecting me, when they having rodents live there and it's coming to 5 of the neighbors and they take over our yards, then I have to talk about that house. Actually, I'm surprised the town has not gone and taken over and condemned this house, because the trees that are growing in the backyard is overgrown. The grass, I don't know if that's grass, but it's connecting to our fences. The raccoons, because we have wood fences, have been pulling the pieces off of there of all of the neighbors' yards so they can get through. And they come out in the daytime. So I was told when they come out in the daytime that they're sick. So I would like to know what's the update on this?
Okay. I don't know about the property, but is the commissioner or deputy commissioner will follow up with you after the meeting and talk to you about the address and also get the location of that stop sign?
I've been saying that since 2019.
Okay.
I mean...
Okay. Well, like I said, the deputy commissioner is going to go with you right now and get the address for that stop sign. I appreciate you coming in, Ms. Harris.
Can I just say one more thing?
No, Ms. Harris, I got to go through the list, but thank you so much. No, Dan, he's really great. He's going to talk to you right now. Thank you, Ms. Harris. Thank you so much. We appreciate. Next, I have Claudia Barecki.
Keep saying that.
Claudia Barecki. Thank you, Ms. Harris. Claudia Barecki. Thank you, Ms. Harris. Okay, thank you. Next, I have Chris Jacob. Okay, Mr. Jacob, you come on to the back there. Thank you. Ms. Harris, if you want to talk to the deputy commissioner, he's right back there. The screaming's not going to happen. Thank you so much, Ms. Harris. Mr. Jacob, if you come to the mic, thank you. It's really not going to change. Yelling is not going to change anything. Thank you so much, Ms. Harris. We appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Jacob, it's your opportunity to speak, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Ms. Jacob. Ms. Harris. Mr. Jacob, thank you. If you name and address for the record, thank you.
Yes, good afternoon, Chris Jacobs, Eatonville, New York. I'm talking today in regards to the Town of Hempstead's environmental impact study for the hub area in Nassau Coliseum. Just want to reference that the Department of Environmental Conservation has identified Uniondale, along with Hempstead, Roosevelt, Newcastle, and Westbury, as disadvantaged communities when it comes to pollution, air pollution in particular. Primarily, the study shows that it's been caused primarily by high volumes of traffic as well as concentration of businesses. Also, Hempstead Turnpike, as everybody knows, ranks annually in the top 5 of the most dangerous roads in New York State. That's a fact. I often see, because I'm always stuck on there, ambulances driving on the median. Also, just with the Malvern presentation, I heard the supervisor said that you're concerned about traffic, so take that into consideration when Town of Hempstead studies Hempstead Turnpike. Also, I have here, I'm going to submit to you guys from website WireScore showing the, basically it's a website that covers walkability and alternate forms of transportation besides cars. We rank very bad. We have 29 for car, we basically very car dependent, as opposed to you look at a place like Broadway, they get 99 and 100s for everything, because we don't have buses and everything like that. We have sparse when it comes to that. Also, the fact that I just want to say, when it comes to environmental study, I don't understand how adding something of that magnitude to increase traffic and increase the usage of our water and pollute our air, how does adding traffic relieve our problems that we have within the Town of Hempstead and in particular Uniondale community that we're plagued by? So hopefully the process will be done in a very transparent manner with public input, and I just want to make sure what goes in our area is beneficial for our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobs. Nice to see you. Next, I have Dennis and Gail Compton. Dennis or Gail? Okay. Next, I have Brenda Olin. Good afternoon. Your name and address for the record, thanks.
Good afternoon. I'm Brenda Olin, and I am from Uniondale. I just wanted to talk to you about the same topic that was brought up with the barber shop that is occupying a space in Uniondale. They're on, it's called the Silver Shears Barber Shop, and they're located at 646 Waverly Place. We have had problems for years, and the residents have been calling the police to try to get them to lower the noise, and over the years, it's just gotten out of control and gotten so much worse. We have the cars with the speakers that amplify, literally the whole block can hear their music. We have the crowd that frequents so often that they use part of the library parking lot. Just to give you a frame of reference, this is an area where the Uniondale Library is, and then there's the Citibank, and there's a big parking lot that's right in between. Well, on that corner, as you go out of that little exit area, you'll run straight into this barber shop. There's usually 20 to 30 men gathered there. There's drinking, there's urination. They use the side of the building as their urinal. It's just loud, and even when the gates close, even when they shut it down, there's chairs that are sitting out there. We have men that sit there sometimes till 5 o'clock in the morning. From my home, I can hear the music, I can feel the vibration and pounding of the music, and it's just been very difficult. My husband is a heart patient, and there have been times when I've gotten very concerned about his health. I have a granddaughter who is autistic, so when she comes, she literally recently had a meltdown because it was just too loud. I even want to, if I may, give you a little sound bite.
I heard this once, and I'm hearing it twice, so two people are making comments about this place. If you would be kind enough, anytime you have something like this, you call my office, and we would take care of it for you. I don't want to see things like that happening there either. None of us do. So if you would give us the address, and if you have this written down, please give it to us, and we'll take care of it.
My husband's actually messaged your office and sent information in. We will do it again. What we need in that area is more lighting. In the dark, a lot goes on. But so there needs to be floodlights that are out there to keep them under, let them know that they can't do what they're doing. We call the police regularly. We want those cars that are using their trunk as an amplifying system to be ticketed. We want the establishment to be...
Don't worry, I hear you. Just give us all the things that you're saying, give it to us, and we have staff here that will go out and check it out and make sure whatever is wrong will be corrected.
We appreciate that. I will certainly be following it up.
Okay.
Thank you.
As a matter of fact, here's one of my staff members here. Would you talk to her so she can give you
Your address, and then we'll follow up with the building department as well. Thank you.
I was actually told by the police that they have the right to do that, that if they rent the place, that they can establish their own hours. I asked, why are they still open? The other businesses are closed. They sell liquor out of there. It is a party for 8, 9, 10 hours. We hear it in our bedrooms.
Got you. The deputy supervisor's assistant is going to take the address right now, and we'll see what we're going to be doing and trying to coordinate with the police department as well.
With 1 second less, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Patricia Gallagher?
Okay, you're going to go out, let me see what I tell. Where can I take her?
Janet, I think the deputy supervisor. Janet, the deputy supervisor wants you to talk to Ms. Olin. Ms. Olin?
Would you come back and speak with her?
She's gonna talk to you. Thank you. Why don't you take her to the upstairs and you can talk to her privately upstairs. I think that's what the deputy supervisor wants you to do. Okay, Ms. Gallagher, you ready?
I'm also here.
Okay, great. If your name and address for the record.
Patricia Gallagher in Uniondale.
No, just one, please. You came with, I want to take her with you to my office.
No, you can follow up.
You can follow information later.
Ms. Olin, the deputy supervisor's staff member is going to take you upstairs to converse with you. Thank you very much. Ms. Gallagher, yes, ma'am.
I'm also here about
Okay.
Silver Shears.
Well, then you can do the same thing. Send it into the office. We'll look at it.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
No problem at all. Why don't you
I'm not
stick around so we can get your name and address, okay? Thank you very much. Denise, Alexa?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Denise Alexa from the town of Oyster Bay. New York Citizens Audit is working with Andrew Paquette, PhD, also known as Dr. Art Zark, a brilliant cyber intelligence and cybersecurity expert. He discovered 4 hidden algorithms in New York State voter rolls, also known as Nice Voter. Thank you. The algorithms found in the databases link county voter identification and State Board of Elections identification numbers in such a way that it could be used as a third ID number, which then could be used to clandestinely tag and track records of interest such as phantom voters. Every county official that Dr. Paquette spoke with about this subject stated they had no idea the algorithms existed. None had seen any sign of their existence prior to these findings. The algorithms perform no security function, and they were not designed to optimize database performance. Regardless, fictitious records and votes, cloned records, and deletion of records all violate the law. We know election fraud occurred. There is too much evidence to deny it with any credibility. Whoever is responsible for the algorithms is deliberately or negligently violating the law on a systemic and regular basis. Dr. Paquette's findings about New York's voter roll algorithms were recently peer-reviewed and published in a scientific journal, the Journal of Information Warfare. You should have received an email about that article. What is most significant about this peer-reviewed article is it proves that the manipulation present in Nice Voter database right now is a scientific fact. It may provide an explanation of the inaccuracies and irregularities. It proves a total loss of control data breach, the most severe kind of data breach recognized by our federal government. The law says it renders the affected Nice Voter database completely untrustworthy. It proves that the New York Citizens Audit's research team data is solid, reliable, and can be replicated. It is not based on opinion or conjecture. It proves that New York State election officials certified provably inaccurate elections. They ignored New York Citizens Audit's notification of the 2020 election irregularities and proceeded to run and certify the 2022 election. This is against the black letter rule of law. We ask that you support this effort by signing the resolution of audit today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Patrick Wynn. Afternoon, name and address for the record, thanks.
Good afternoon. Patrick Wynn, Smithtown, New York. My friend Denise was just talking about the article published in the Journal of Information Warfare, highlighting several topics related to algorithms. One of the irregularities that I have become familiar with in the New York State voter rolls is that of clone voters, which come in several types. The one we've become, that we find most often on Long Island are of the modified spelling type. Some of these I've canvassed personally myself, over 50. And what we find with this modified spelling, well, let me back up here a little bit. Only 2 things are needed in order for a person to vote more than once in New York State: a unique State Board of Election ID number and a source voter to which that State Board of Election ID number can be attached to. What we find with these modified spelling clones is that a person's name, such as John Smith, will be transposed to Smith John, and either a middle initial added or deleted. When we canvass these voters, we find that they have no idea that they have an additional State Board of Election ID number, and that the ability to vote twice is attached to them, because what we find is the date of birth and the address are perfect matches. So we'll ask questions such as, does a Smith John live here? And they'll say, no, that's me. And we verify this with an affidavit as well. So we presented you with a resolution that we're asking you to sign, and though we've encountered situations whereas town boards have said, okay, we can't adopt this resolution for procedural reasons or jurisdictional reasons, we found 15 county town boards, throughout the state that have signed and adopted this resolution. And, you know, we get the question where they say, well, why are you from Suffolk County coming here to a town board meeting in Hempstead to present us with this information? And the reason is, if you looked at the resolution that you have been presented with, if you just give me a minute here, we've met with state and federal officials throughout. We have been met with state and federal officials throughout the state with indifference and inaction, including the Attorney General, Secretary of State, State Board of Elections, Inspector General, Federal Bureau of Investigation, state leadership of Democrat and Republican parties, county election officials, sheriffs, district attorneys, and others. And all of us in this room belong to a bigger constituency than just our towns.
Okay, thank you,
Just
Mr.
asking
Nguyen. We
that-
appreciate your coming in, and we appreciate the emails we get from you. We have a number of people to get through here today. Next, I have Tammy Topal. Good afternoon, Ms. Topal. If you give your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, and thank you for, you got my name correct. That is
There's one.
very unusual. Okay, I'm going to talk about trust anchors with regard to the election process. If anyone has ever heard Marley Hornick, the executive director of New York Citizens Audit speak, she addresses trust anchors, and she says in all of her presentations that America is a precious jewel, the only nation in which our inalienable right, that to live in a sovereign relationship with God of nature, is protected by strictly limiting government powers. Our elections are what guarantees we the people choose who represents us, and are thus ruled by laws which we approve. The rule of law anchors America in this intrinsic time. There are several laws or anchors in our voting system which our trust in the outcomes is predicated. These are contained in the statement, one voter, one vote. Citizens trust that only eligible voters are allowed to register. Citizens trust each voter is registered once and therefore can only vote once. Why do we assume this? Because it's the law, and we trust that our elections are lawful. The anchors upon which we the people rely in order to trust our elections have been yanked. The efforts of local election officials to resolve the issues are failing. With the trust anchors cut loose and the ship called New York pulled farther and farther out to sea, why should we? That is why we are asking you to sign our resolution supporting an end-to-end audit of the 2022 election that is based on faulty New York State voter database. Please let your integrity shine and join the other town boards in New York State who have signed this resolution. We would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Topal. Next, I have Sandra Hervey. Okay.
I'm going to put a little sugar on this.
There you go. Now, good afternoon to you.
Most of these people that have spoken, I know. I'm from Uniondale, Sandra Hervey from Uniondale, and what they're saying. I first want to thank the board, and I want to thank John Lipinski, the Code Enforcement Office. They try. It's a lot. Uniondale has gone from sugar, you fill in the blank. A lot of the top dogs and the big wigs that work in the town, they came in Uniondale. I'm a social studies history teacher, and I always like to get the history of wherever I am. I'm even looking at the construction of this building. And Uniondale has really gotten bad, Supervisor Clive, and it's gotten bad. I know, Dorothy Gooseby, you're vested. Your daughter's a teacher in Uniondale. She has been very good teacher at that. We got a lot of good stuff going on in Uniondale, but Uniondale has gotten really, really bad. One of the things, I have a list, the 4th of July, it's a huge problem. Now, we know as Americans what the 4th of July stands for. A lot of people don't. It's just a time to pop off fireworks, and it's not just in Uniondale. It's throughout Nassau County. I've been told that by Inspector Guerrero, who I met with. It's a huge problem. I know that the town has a tremendous amount of power, and I just want to see you use that power for good. We shouldn't have to diminish living in a community for 30 years. John F. Kennedy, I think it was, that says, ask not what your country can do for you, but what the hell can you do for your country? Well, I'm showing up today to try to help my community. We need to get notices out about the 4th of July, and we need to pay these people some overtime, whoever you're going to have supervising. Lighting is important. The slumlords in Uniondale that buy homes and then they go to another state and live in Mutton Town, but they use our town to make money off. Pooper scooper laws. People are walking dogs everywhere. It's dog mud everywhere. Whether it's Skittles or Snickers bars, it's poops. Clavin, sir, I'd like for you to put some trash receptacles out. We have a lot of illegal housing in Uniondale, lots of it. And the people, they take their trash and they put it in the receptacles on the corners. That's just for people to pass by and throw away your trash if you have a soda pop or a bag of chips. The illegal basement apartments. Governor Holcomb wants to turn Uniondale into a city, Queens and Brooklyn. Please don't let her do it. The trash disposables is important. Maintaining laws about your lawn maintenance. Sending out notices about it being a fine if you don't cut your grass. And also, how is it humanly possible that you can break into a house, go to Staples and get some type of paperwork to say that you live there, take it to the gas company and the electric company and have electrical services turned on, and then the bank has to pay you to move out?
We thank you for your passion for the community. As you know, we try and coordinate with the county police department on the 4th of July. I'm not a big fan of the 4th of July with the fireworks because my dog freaks out and I don't like it particularly. We appreciate it. And when it comes to if you tell the deputy supervisor's idea where you'd like to see a couple of extra trash receptacles, of course, we'll take it right back there, that young lady right there, okay? Thank you very much for coming out today. Ms. DiTieri?
Excuse me 1 minute, Supervisor. Excuse me. Let me tell you something good. The students from Lawrence Road went to Philadelphia for various contests. They won all of them, 7. They came home with 7 trophies.
Well, you know, I've been in Uniondale for 30 years, and Dexter Hodge, the principal, is a good friend of mine, and so is your daughters. We have some of the best teachers in the country, and we want to save Uniondale. And you bigwigs that came from Uniondale, don't forget us. We just want to keep it clean. All this stuff that's going on is bad.
Okay.
It's bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mr. Thierry. Have your name and address for the record.
Marcia DeTier, Newark, New York. First of all, I'd like to say about the 4th of July, there's a lot of other ways we can use taxpayer monies besides fireworks. Scares babies, scares animals. Use it for the constituents. That's just on that. Watching the video from last meeting, and you saying the town Hempstead takes the environment very seriously, I do not see any evidence in our neighborhoods that this town board is protecting the one natural thing that keeps neighborhoods environmentally friendly. Preservation of the mature trees, what keeps our environment safe. The trees that once lined our streets, keeping groundwater filtered, our properties cooled, air quality cleaner, and our climate cooler, wildlife safe, and better quality of life for all. I think you were mistaken when you also said that people do not want trees planted in their neighborhoods. I think it's the developers and those who think leaves are a nuisance that don't want the trees. I would love if you, Supervisor Clavin, my councilman, Dunn, Carini, or the second person on the board that didn't think tree preservation is important walk through the neighborhoods with me and take a survey inquiring with the constituents if they would be interested and take advantage of a low or a no-cost tree planting program through the town right of way instead of the $300 to $400 per tree listed currently. I've mentioned in the past low-cost tree trimming programs through the town, which would also give residents peace of mind that their mature trees stayed healthy, some of which could live up to 1,000 years, giving countless residents oxygen. Was that acted on? The Wild Ones of Long Island researched other township ordinances and handed you a plan on a silver platter. Constituents have been contacting you. I have been giving you incident after incident of our healthy way of life being destroyed. You made promise after promise that tree preservation laws would be put into place as with every other township. The board should be looking out for the health and needs of their constituents, not just two board members' opinions. Compare Garden City tree ordinance law and do an environmental impact study compared to Merrick and East Meadow, which happens to be a place where trees are killed daily. Which township has a healthier environment? It would be to everyone's benefit if the board changed that. A healthy environment starts at home, not just in the parks. Put a survey in your Around the Town newspaper and see how many responses you receive. It's been years.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Thierry. Jason Oshis? Okay. Rena Safra? Good afternoon. You give your name and address for the record.
Hi, Rena Safra, 23 Iris Street, Cedarhurst, New York. Thank you. I would like to specifically address Supervisor Clavin, Councilwoman Missy Miller, who I see is not here, and Councilwoman Laura Ryder. Today I'm here to talk to you about the Woodmere Club. I have met with your predecessors on the town board, and I welcome the opportunity to meet with you as well. I have called and emailed your offices, and I await a reply. When the Woodmere Club property, which is situated almost entirely within Town of Hempstead municipality with smaller portions in the villages of Lawrence and Woodsburg, was purchased by developers 7 years ago, the owners proposed building 284 homes on the property, a sixth town, so to speak. Thankfully, after extreme pressure from the Five Towns Civic Association and the greater Five Towns community, you heard our pleas. On July 1st, 2020, you joined forces with the villages of Lawrence and Woodsburg and unanimously voted to create the Coastal Conservation District that allows for just 59 homes on a limited portion of the property with dedicated green space throughout. The developers immediately sued all three municipalities, and as you know, the matter was recently dismissed by a federal judge. The developers have not yet filed an appeal. You are no longer in litigation. It's time to resolve this issue before they do file an appeal. In light of your inaction and refusal to try to resolve this, the developers are currently asking the villages of Lawrence and Woodsburg Board of Appeals for a variance to build on property they're currently prohibited from building on pursuant to the Coastal Conservation District. If granted variances, this would be in direct conflict with your intermunicipal agreement and would be devastating to the Five Towns community and beyond. However, there is a viable solution. In May of 2021, the developers proposed a different plan to build age-restricted condominiums on just 20% of the property along Broadway and turn the remaining 80-plus acres into a nature preserve through the stewardship of the North Shore Land Alliance, who has enthusiastically agreed to take this on at no cost to the town of Hempstead or the villages or Nassau County. This plan is a fair compromise, as it would be a win for the developer, a win for the Five Towns community, a win for the environment, and a win for the town of Hempstead and Nassau County. Unfortunately, despite our best efforts, despite your insistence that you hear us, despite your promise to serve on our behalf, you have done nothing to bring this well-thought plan to fruition. We want open space, and there's no question that returning the majority of the Woodmere Club property back to nature is the most responsible use of the land. I've sent you hundreds of letters of support for this plan. What more do we need to do to get you to hear us? You've asked for our support, and we've given it to you. You've asked for our endorsements, and we've given it to you. You took an oath to carry out the will of the people, and you have let us down. Elections are around the corner. Constituents vote on issues they care about. Now it's your turn to show us how much you care. Listen to the people, preserve open space and nature at the Woodmere Club. The time for action by Town of Hempstead is now. It's time for you to step up and lead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, I'm going to have Rose Lampierre. Rose Lampierre? Rose Lampierre? Okay. Good afternoon. If you could give your name and address for the record, thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Rose Lampierre. I reside at 916 Orlando Avenue, West Hempstead. However, it is the Lakeview section. Once again, good afternoon. I have growing concerns about Lakeview for not having its own water tower or water district. This is especially concerning to me when the water company Liberty is charging each household as if water is a man-made resource. Water is a God-given necessity that should not be treated as a non-renewable resource and should not be associated with any price gouging. I have noticed the past couple of years, any new home complex that is built, infrastructure is included. For example, a new water tower in Mineola/Garden City was recently built for new apartment complexes. In addition, this year alone, I've watched West Hempstead demolish its old water tower and constructed a new one, and that was done within weeks. I'd like to know why we have sufficient funds to provide for the demolition of an old water tower and the construction of a new water tower in West Hempstead. Yet, Lakeview is not subject to do the same. I have never observed any other water company having its own personal, expensive SUVs riding around at the expense of homeowners. Surprisingly, Liberty Water does. And yet they manage to bill the people, the residents of my town, in a manner that a phone company or a gas company bill its customers using filler fees. We need Lakeview to have its own water tower, and we need it today. We do not want Liberty Water treating Lakeview residents as if we are oblivious and obtuse to the strategies that they're using to make residents pay an arm and a leg for water. As a matter of fact, many residents do not drink the sink water. We use it to wash our clothing, and we use it to water our plants and make our homes look beautiful. Liberty Water receives $50 million per year, and that is more than sufficient to build a water tower for Lakeview, even if it were to take 2 years to finalize. So my goal today is to have my representatives, in fact, our representatives, to take initiative to say yes to a new tower, a water tower for Lakeview, because Lakeview has the infrastructure there. It just needs to be built.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming in. Howard Mack? Good afternoon. Give your name and address for the record. Thank you.
For the record, my name is Howard Nacht. I reside at 187 Loynes Avenue in Merrick, and have done so for 43 plus years. And I want to speak to you about the South Nassau Water Authority. Firstly, I suggest that we, and by we I mean this council and everyone who resides within that water district, that we need to refocus what is the real issue. And I submit to you that the real issue is whether the South Nassau Water Authority and its commissioners have done anything to fulfill their legislative mandate. I suggest to you they have not done so. I'm happy to see that this council is moving to replace one of the vacancies. I suggest that if the commissioners of that authority are not acting, that you replace them with commissioners who will act. And I submit to you that the one and only issue that we should focus on is whether these commissioners and this authority has done anything to fulfill its legislative mandate. And if they have not, I certainly urge this council to urge those commissioners to move ahead and fulfill their mandate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it. Barbara Hafner.
Hi, Barbara Hafner, 202 Walker Place, West Hempstead. Just a couple things. I believe it's our civic duty to be here, and to park here was a real pain in the butt. So you need to figure out a better system for parking. So I went across the street, and I was going to pay my money, you know, but I don't walk around with quarters. I wish I did, but I just don't. I don't have quarters. I have my debit card. And those machines, there's one that takes a debit card. The rest, no. I go into Manhasset at least once a week to visit some friends, and they charge $0.25 an hour. Pretty good, right? And if I don't have that quarter, which I usually don't, I put in my little debit card. So if there's a way to fix this machine across the street for public parking, since that parking lot had a lot of numbers that you couldn't park in, I would hope that you would think about that so that more people can come and listen to all of you.
Okay, that's the Village of Hempstead's parking lot, so I'll call up the village mayor and I'll let him know your feelings on that. And see if
I will do so. And then lastly, you mentioned that we will get notification about when this Water Commission will be meeting. How do we go about making sure that we're part of that notification?
give you a name and number to Commissioner Reinhardt right there, and he'll be happy to do so. Right, Commish? Stand up and wave.
Oh, Mr.
There you go.
Reinhardt.
There you go. See, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
We've
See, she's all
spoken
happy
many
now. There you go.
times.
Ah, there you go. So we're already
There
having
you
plates.
go.
That's great.
And based on what I've been hearing, I really think we got some work to do. So I hope you will truly do what you were elected to do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next I have Calvin Kabesh. Calvin Kabesh? All right, I do not have any other slips. Is anybody wishes to be heard that did not sign in? If not, have a wonderful day and a happy 4th of July. Thank you all for coming out.